Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Welcome to Moms in Real Estate. I am Kristen Cantrell.
And I'm Angela Fazio. We are very, very excited to introduce you to Taylor Hirst today. She lives and works outside of Sacramento and has the most unbelievable family life that it's unique. So I can't wait for you to hear it. She's going to talk to us today about her journey in coming into her own as a woman. And so Taylor, I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for even giving me the opportunity. My name, they just said, is Taylor Hirst. I work in El Dorado County. I am a mom of three. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 6-month-old. And my husband and I just make the greatest team. We renovate houses for ourselves. We're constantly living in a state of renovation. We have a little bit of a mini farm going, which we'll dive into. And we are independently running our own little real estate business in my hometown, which is pretty special.
Yeah, I'm so excited for everyone to hear your unique life, which actually ties into our topic. So let's tell our audience that I was fascinated when I saw what you have going on at your house. First of all, your renovation is beautiful from what I could see when we spoke via Zoom. So you do a good job. But talk to us about specifically your mini farm and how that came to be.
Yeah, so real estate's insane. It's stressful and there's just always a lot going on. And I actually went to a listing presentation, you guys, and this gal and I connected on such like an emotional, like a deep level. And she had a mini donkey at her farm or at her home, and she was so connected, and that was her main motivation for moving, or like her only rule for me as her agent was, you have to find me a place where this donkey can come with me. And she had 2 of them, and I was like, a donkey, okay, and I take tidbits out of every appointment I go on to try and share on social, to try and connect with people and just kind of bring a real perspective to what I do every day. And I remember snapping a picture like, this little guy wants his mom to have me list his house and help us buy a new one or something like that, right? And then I just kind of like was connected with these donkeys. I just kept seeing donkeys everywhere, and I talked to my husband, and he said, well, let's do field trips. You want mini donkeys? And he thought he wanted alpacas. And I was like, all right, fine. Like, I found a farm locally. Let's go see this mini donkey breeder in Lincoln. She's outside where we are. So we loaded up the kids one day. We went over there, and we were leaving, and he said, all right, how do we get one? Right. And so we now are up to 8 mini donkeys.
That's
we
insane.
Going there,
one,
I know.
right. We have one that is expecting a baby any day. They're pregnant between 10 months and 14 months. So, I mean, stop half of your whole world to just wait on a baby. But we are within the 2-month time frame now.
What do you do when they have a baby? You just call a vet?
We are going to be first-time donkey parents, but we have consulted with our vet. They do all of the work. The donkey does all of the work herself. And once they're kind of dried and walking, we call the vet out, assuming there's no complications and everything. But she's foaled before. She's had a baby. So we're all pretty confident she could do it again for us. And we'll see what happens. And it kind of came from, ma'am, I'm so busy. I don't want to have to pack up a travel trailer. I don't want to have to leave. I just want to be home. How do we make home our haven? Like, how do I make home really where we truly are comfortable and most happy? Because we do constantly live in a state of some type of renovation. My husband is the handiest, most intelligent man I've ever met. And we take houses that need love. Obviously, they've got good bones. And we turn them into our own little dream Pinterest boards. And he does, I would say, 99% of the work. And so we just needed an escape. And man, the donkeys are just so intuitive. It was pretty cool. Our gateway animal, though, was chickens. The gateway farm animal is chickens. And then people kind of move into Nigerian dwarf goats, so we did the goats, and then it was donkey time, and now we have more donkeys than anything else.
So your husband never got his alpaca?
No, he just totally, no, we're throwing that out the window. He was all in on the mini donkeys, and we got 2. We actually had to have them come to us from Alabama because just like California, the market for mini donkeys is highly inflated.
I had no idea. I don't even know if I've ever seen a mini. At like
they're
a petting
so
zoo.
cute.
Yeah, how
They're
cool.
so
They're
cute.
adorable, and they're just pasture puppies. They literally are. It's not like they're definitely not for me or anything like that. They're not working animals. I mean, they literally are pasture puppies for us. They're full of personality, and so it's just added.
I have a question for you. You have to do this. Do you do client parties and have a petting zoo, and like everyone gets to go play with the animals?
That is literally on our dream board. We want to finish. So the house we just purchased actually has 10 acres. They have a beautiful pasture. The barn needs a little bit of work, but it's peeling, chipping, barn red, pole barn, and it's incredible. And so once we can kind of fine tune the renovation and get the outside space to where I want it, that is actually the goal, is to have this gorgeous outdoor entertaining where we just have people come over and enjoy what we've created, because, we don't want to leave either, but we also want people to come be with us. And so that is actually the goal. My insurance guy, hopefully he would never listen to this, but he literally said, like, okay, you checked the box, or he had me check the box, but I have no animals. And I called him and said, no, I definitely have animals. Like, I've got a lot of animals. I'm not checking this box. I don't feel comfortable. And he said, well, as long as you're not doing like petting zoos and stuff where someone could get hurt. And I'm like, what if I don't want to check this box? Like, can you still get insurance? Because, knowing that's what we'd like to do.
Right.
That
right.
is so
long
funny.
term or short term, that's hopefully what we can invite everybody over for.
So wait, before we go any further, if somebody's listening, you think that this is just like a normal, like you have to go on, what's that animal Instagram group that you have? Because people need to stop and pause and look at your Instagram to understand that this is no normal farm. It's beautiful. So tell your Instagram handle for your farm.
So for the farm one, I have one, and it's at Brain Oaks, and I believe there's an underscore in there. And Brain is the sound that a donkey makes, and we just have the most gorgeous hill of oak trees. And so we were like, how do we do this? And there was one day we were standing in the middle of the pasture, and literally all of the donkeys started braying from the opposite end. And it was like the oaks were singing. It's not a very cute sound, so don't get me wrong, but that's kind of how we came into that.
So if you guys are listening,
Brain underscore oak.
BRAYING underscore oaks. You need to go look at that right now. And then you're going to understand why we are so fascinated in talking about animals on Moms in Real Estate.
Well, I feel like I could talk about animals all day long, and I'm pretty sure like 90% of people have a dream of having a red barn. Like, I want one so bad. Maybe I'm just like assuming everybody wants one, because I totally do.
We're going to her house. You're not going to be able to stop us, Taylor. You're not going to be able to.
Oh my gosh, there's literally a mini donkey like rolling around like a dog. You're not lying.
Oh yeah, no, they literally are little puppies. And so I just started this. We have the real estate. I have my full real estate Instagram and everything, and the more I was doing reels and other things, people were coming, and I assume that they are looking for real estate information, as boring as it can be. We try to add a flair and an edge, but I also didn't want to inundate all those new people with this farm life, because just like you guys, it's kind of shocking. Like, who has, why am I on a realtor page talking about donkeys? What's the deal? And so I did kind of want to add more of a personal level where I could inundate my Instagram with just the animals and behind the scenes that we do. It is, it's hard to kind of keep up both, but I actually love it because I get to look back and I don't have to scroll far to see the fun farm stuff. I get to, it'll be there. And so we're going to build this up, especially as we go with the house and the renovation and everything we have going on.
It's just that, people do business with people they like and trust. You hear that all the time. And like, you look at your Instagram and it immediately breaks down any wall anybody has, and they're like, I want to work with you.
That's right.
I want to go to that farm and talk to that realtor. So I think it's great. Mm-hmm. Like, you found your in, and you're being authentically you, So I think that's what so many people don't understand in real estate is, like, you've just got to, like, find your passion and, like, shout at the top of a mountain about it, and the people that are attracted to that will use you as their realtor because they connect with you now that they've seen that.
That's right. If I wasn't licensed myself and I lived in your area, there would be nothing stopping me from me using you because of what you represent as yourself. I mean, honestly, when you said that I wanted to make my home my haven, you know, that's part of our topic today, like coming into your own as a woman and in your career and your family. I love your family history. Talk a little bit about your husband leaving his job and a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were only technically licensed about 10 months. It took me 6 months to get a deal turned in. I had already blown through 2 different brokers at the time. The business model, training model just wasn't clicking. We don't have to get into that, but my husband was also miserable, and he had a really great job. He had a long commute, and he's like, I'm eating fast food. I'm never home with you guys. Like, I really am not enjoying this. Look what you've been able to do since that first contract was closed, right? That first transaction. And that was in June, July to November where we are. And he goes, look what you've been able to do with our 1-year-old going to everything with you, you know? Mm-hmm. And we had actually just found out we were pregnant and number 2 was on her way. And he said, what if we're getting ready to get laid off just because he had a seasonal job? He said, what if I said, I'm not coming back, you know? And we tried it. He said, worst case, I do go back after the season. No big deal. I know there will be a job for me, but let's try this. And we tried it, and it opened so many doors. Obviously, there were conversations back and forth. I'm scared. This is terrifying. But you know what? Let's just jump all in, right? There's no plan B. Here we go. And we took off. We literally took off. And so he has been home since basically the first year, so almost 4 full years now because we're almost at 5 years in production. And we went from 1 kid to 3 kids. We went from 2 indoor dogs, and I don't even think we had a cat at the time, to where we are now, the 8 mini donkeys. We've got 6 Nigerian dwarf goats and some little kids that they had a few weeks ago. We've got chickens, we've got geese, we've got 2 Labrador puppies now, 3 indoor cats. We are on our 3rd renovation together, but we are all living in 500 square foot guest house on our property.
It's like beautiful chaos, right? Like I just have like this image, especially now that I've looked at your Instagram. Like
I know
this image in my head, and I'm like, it's fun, and I love the whole making your home your haven. Like that is I can just see it in my head. You've done a great job explaining it.
Well, thank you. And he really does. Once we can show off this next house, he does all of the work for us. So not only is he, you know, Mr. Dad at home, he's a stay-at-home dad, the primary parent, he's also the entire person renovating the homes and keeping the farm going too during the day, because it's a lot of upkeep. So on my days where I'm maybe 8 to 9, 8 a.m., 9 p.m., he had to do everything all day long. And so it is certainly a lot of teamwork. It takes a lot of patience and just trust in the process for what we're doing is really getting us to where we want to go.
One of the things that's so attractive about the way that you describe your husband, you're clearly fully on his, his favorite list, and you're on his. But I'm saying that wrong. But you love each other so deeply, and your roles aren't necessarily what the world says the roles should be. And I love that because that's my husband and me too. My husband does the cooking. I mean, like, why do we have to define ourselves by whatever the world says? Like, this kind of goes into the topic of coming into your own as you and your unique family, you and your unique home and your business. Mm-hmm. So talk about that a little bit. Was that ever difficult, or like just to make that decision, or just you guys did it and you didn't care?
Oh man, was it difficult for me. He's just confident. He's like, hey, things work out. He is my home, right? My compass there. And he always knows and just fully trusts, like, this is just do this. Let's just stay true to this. But when I first started, man, you guys know the competition, the comparison. I found my mentor found me. We were fully aligned. And once we started working together, it took a couple months, but I realized I'm always going to be a second-rate her. I'm always going to miss the mark if she's who I'm trying to be. And same with the other top producers locally. And so very quickly I learned, like, you know what? No one can be me. I'm gonna give it a shot. I owe it to myself. We've done this whole thing. I don't want to fail. My husband's home now. I'm gonna go all in on me. And it worked so beautifully. And I give the same parenting advice, but what works for you works for you, right? You are going to get inundated with so much online, and you should do this and the mentors and buy this and buy that. And I knew that I had kids. I knew that I was pregnant. I also know I talk fast. I am high energy. I am bubbly. On the phone, I might sound young, but good grief, peel back the layers. I know so much now about this industry, and I have perfected my craft that I wanted people to know, pick me because what you hear, you know, is going to be fun along the way, but it's going to be real, and I'm going to educate you. And, you know, if you hear a goat in the background or a kid, it doesn't mean I can't show up and do my real estate job. It just means I'm working on balancing what I've got going on and where my passions are colliding, right? And so I think that was the biggest thing, though, was what worked for us was my husband thrived when he was at home. I would come home. I am not a homemaker. I tried, and I was not great at it. I would come home, and he would have dinner ready and the dishes, and it was clean, and it felt good. And my daughter was played with, right? She had fun. I was trying to balance with her, and I would get stressed, and it wasn't a fun day with her. And, you know, it wasn't fair to her that I was bringing my stress because I didn't know how to balance it, and I was putting it on her. And so we both played to our strengths and doubled down on that. And that's what's gotten us to where we are.
Oh my gosh, you said that so beautifully. Like my favorite phrase that you said is where my passions collide. I like literally, I just said it and gave me goosebumps again. What a perfect way to describe how we're supposed to live.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
And listeners out there, I haven't figured it out completely. Don't get,
nobody does
or anything crazy, right? Yeah. And it's just it's the never ending activity of trying to achieve that balance, right? Mm-hmm. There will be days it's a 12, 13, 14-hour day. And there's some days I look and I'm like, you know, that could wait till tomorrow. Let's go play in the creek at the new property. Or, you know, let's just go stand in the pasture and brush out the donkeys because they need a little pamper day too. And sometimes they just overlap and it's out of flow. But that is what we're trying to achieve, is get to the point where our business is in flow because the processes we have put in place so that we can be home together more. But I'm still in touch with my clients and my business. And I haven't gotten so big that I have no idea what's happening on my files, you know?
I have such a good marketing idea for you. When we're done with this podcast, I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, you have been so great to listen to. I'm like, I got to go see you. I've got to know you more.
We're going to figure that out. We're going to find some reason why we need to be in your area for our business, EXP, and we're going to get there. And I want to see those geese. Okay, let's leave with an animal story, because somebody has not taken the time to pause this and look at your Instagram yet, which is silly. Talk about those geese.
Oh my gosh. So I think that this is that they are a product of Instagram or Pinterest. I don't know who needs the credit, but there are these fancy geese. They're called Sebastopol geese, and they're docile as far as geese go. They're not like the Canadian geese that chase you on the middle school playground,
That's
right?
what I'm imagining. Cool. Like we're afraid of geese.
They're beautiful in like a weird way. It looks like they're wearing a wedding dress. Their feathers naturally curl, and so they hang down and they curl. And so there's literally no purpose for them. We did try our hand at incubating their eggs, but we did not do well. And they're very rare, though. Like this is a world you'll have no idea exists. If you go and try and buy a Sebastopol geese, you're probably going to be on a wait list like a year long, and you're going to have to expect to pay like $100 for an egg, and it's not even sexed. So you have no idea if it's going to be a gander or an actual goose, right? A boy or a girl. And it's just this whole world, and they fell into our lap. This local gal, she saw that I posted in a Sebastopol Facebook group, which those exist. Hey, I'm looking, and you know, I'm in Placerville, and here we go. She remembered that. A year later, she said, "Hey, I know that you were looking for these a year ago. I'm actually getting rid of mine. Do you want them?" And so we ended up with our geese locally, and one of them had a little issue when we first got it, and so we have two still, and they're just goofy. They have. They're no purpose but to bring me joy, and I love
think they're
that.
Beautiful.
They're pretty, and it's one of those weird things that is a byproduct of Instagram and just trying to add them into the farm life, but they fit pretty well.
I have one last question for you. What is the type of animal, or what's your next dream addition to your farm?
You know, we actually really would like to focus on the mini donkeys. I think that if we could get ourselves to 10, we'd be at a good number. we've talked about mini cows, like the Highlander, the cute little cows that are in everybody's canvas print in their house, but they all have different stomachs and different dietary needs and different. And so we don't want to get so big that we are not doing a justice to the animals, that we brought into our space. And so I think that you'll see us expand a little bit bigger with the mini donkeys because we know them. Their stomachs are similar enough to the goats where they can have the same diet. Same with the geese. The geese eat the same hay, actually, that the mini donkeys and the goats have. They do not eat anything like the chickens eat. And so it's just been, as long as we can stay manageable, you're going to see way more mini donkeys on our farm.
That's awesome.
It's an addiction, man.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to tell you, this has been so much fun. And Kristen and I are blessed to know you and to hear your story. So thank you for sharing your thoughts and your life with us.
Yes, thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, you guys. This is really great. I love following you and what you do.
All right.
Especially the awareness you bring and support to mamas. We all need it.
We do. So tell everybody your Instagram for your business as we finish up the show.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Millennial Realtor Mama. I coined who I am. I am a millennial, I am a realtor, and I am a mama.
I love it.
Come follow along there.
All right. Well, that's so great. And if anyone here is ready for Flourish in November, you guys do not forget it is November 4th and 5th. And we are more excited about this one than we were the last one because we have so many people committed to speaking at this one that I just cannot wait to hear from. We're going to get the lineup out to you in the next couple weeks, but you guys, it's in Chandler, Arizona at the Forum. So if you are in another state, get your plane tickets. We have discounts at hotels. So make sure to reach out to us and we'll get you all the details. But it's going to be 2 days of speakers. We're going to have happy hours. We're going to do goat yoga. So obviously you need to come. It wasn't even because of you. It's a thing here too. I don't know. So, and then we're also doing cycling. So we're going to do a lot of stuff to be able to connect to the women across the United States that are in real estate. And it's going to be so much fun. So we really hope you're going to come.
All right, you guys, thank you for a great episode and we will see you next time.
Bye.